I don't remember exactly when it started, the feeling that something was off between my wife and me. It wasn't sudden, nothing dramatic, like a shouting match or a slammed door. It was quieter than that. A growing distance in the small spaces of everyday life. Fewer smiles over morning coffee. Her hands slipping from mine more often than holding it. The soft hum of silence that followed conversations where laughter used to live. It's strange how you don't notice the cracks at first. You only see them when the light hits just right. I guess that's what happened with the chocolates. A small thing really. A gesture that should have been sweet, harmless. But that's the thing about cracks, sometimes the smallest weight is enough to break everything apart. It was my birthday when the package arrived. A white box, crisp edges, tied with a deep brown ribbon. My mother-in-law, Susan, had always been thoughtful that way. She knew how to pick things that felt personal, not expensive but meaningful. This time it was gourmet chocolates. The good kind, the kind that come chilled, the kind you savor. I remember opening the box, my wife sitting across from me at the kitchen table. Her arms were crossed, her face blank. I smiled as I pulled out the card, tucked beneath the ribbon. Happy birthday, sweetheart. I hope these make you smile. Love, Mom. You want one? I asked, holding the box toward my wife. She shrugged, eyes on her phone. You should try them first. I opened the box, neat rows of dark and milk chocolates, some dusted with gold flakes, others with intricate swirls of caramel and sea salt. They smelled rich, indulgent. I was about to take a bite, when my wife's voice cut through the quiet. I'm not really hungry, she said. So I closed the box and set it aside. The next day, Susan called. Her voice was light, almost eager. Happy birthday again, sweetheart, she said. So how were the chocolates? I smiled automatically. Oh, they were great. A small pause. Really, I hesitated. Well, actually, my wife ate them all. There was a silence that stretched too long. Then her voice came through, sharp and thin. What? Are you serious? I frowned, unsure why. It suddenly felt like I'd made a mistake. Yeah, I said. She loved them. Another pause. Her voice was trembling when she spoke again. Sweetheart, you need to ask her about that. My chest tightened. Ask her about what? But she didn't answer. After a long silence, she just said, take care of yourself, okay? I hung up, feeling cold, unsettled. I turned to the counter, where the box of chocolates had been sitting. It was gone. I checked the trash, empty the fridge, nothing. I went to the bedroom where my wife sat, curled up with her phone. Hey, I said. Where are the chocolates? She looked up, face blank. What, the chocolates? I repeated. Did you eat them? Her eyes narrowed slightly. Why are you asking? I sat on the edge of the bed. My heart was beating too fast. My mom called. She seems surprised you ate them. My wife's gaze sharpened, and for a second, I saw something cold flicker across her face. Then it was gone. I didn't eat them, she said quietly. What, I threw them away. A strange heat flushed through me. Why, She looked down at her hands. Her fingers were trembling because I thought maybe they were poisoned. I laughed, a brittle sound that didn't feel like mine. Poisoned. Why would you think that? She didn't answer right away. Her lips parted, then closed. Finally, she said, because your mom doesn't like me. That's ridiculous. Is it? Her eyes darkened. She's never trusted me. She's always looking for something wrong. My stomach tightened. I wanted to tell her she was wrong, that my mother had always been kind, had always tried. But part of me knew the truth. Susan had been wary of my wife from the start. Not openly hostile but guarded. Careful. And maybe my wife had felt that. Let it fester. Why didn't you just tell me? I asked. Because you wouldn't have believed me, she said. You'd have taken her side. And there it was, the crack laid bare. The quiet tension that had been growing for months. It wasn't about chocolates. It was about trust. About loyalty. About who I belonged to. She wasn't trying to hurt you, I said. She laughed softly, but there was no humor in it. Maybe not. Later that night when I tried to sleep, I kept hearing my mother's voice. Take care of yourself. A few days passed, and the silence between us stretched. My wife was colder than usual, more distant. I kept replaying the conversation with my mother, trying to make sense of it. I hated the feeling it left behind, the way it made me question the person lying next to me. Then one evening my wife's phone buzzed on the counter while she was in the shower. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. The message was from a number I didn't recognize. Did you tell him yet? My throat tightened. My hand shook as I unlocked her phone. The messages stretched back months. Fragments of conversations. Talk about me. About how hard it was pretending. About how much easier it would be once it was over. My hands were numb when I set the phone down. My wife walked into the room, hair wet towel over her shoulders. What's wrong? She asked. I held up the phone. Who is it? Her face drained of color. It's not what you think. Who is it? She didn't answer. I want the truth, I said, voice low. She closed her eyes. It's someone I've been seeing. My mouth tasted like metal. How long? She hesitated. 6 months. A sound left my throat, something between a laugh and a sob. I didn't want to hurt you, she said. I sat down on the edge of the bed. My head was pounding. Why didn't you just tell me? Her voice was small. Because I was afraid you'd hate me. I don't hate you, I said. But I can't stay. She didn't try to stop me when I packed a bag. She didn't even cry. Maybe she'd already done that part. Maybe this was just the last step of something that had been dying for a while. I called my mom that night. When she picked up, I didn't say anything for a long time. Finally, she said, "Sweetheart." I think you were right, I said, my voice breaking. She sighed softly. Come home. I sat in my car for a while before driving. The road stretched out in front of me, dark and endless. My mother's house was 2 hours away. The air outside was cold. I rolled down the window, letting the wind sting my skin. I didn't cry until I reached my mother's driveway. When I walked inside, Susan wrapped her arms around me, and I let myself sink into the warmth of her embrace. You're going to be okay, she whispered. I didn't answer. But for the first time in a long time, I almost believed it.